This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of August 5th, 2019. The making of this week's podcast is the biggest, most appropriate metaphor for how the week is going to play out, and that is, I recorded a brilliant, beautiful, it flowed. Oh, it was so great. And it recorded with the sound of crackling fire in it, coming from who knows where. Crackling fire and having to make something better than it was, or bring it into the constraints of reality. This week has a recurring theme of expansive, accelerated action, hitting a limit, a boundary, an impediment, a restriction that causes us to adjust. And then more expansion, acceleration, and hitting an impediment, a limit, a restriction, something that causes us to adjust. As we move into it, we start with a pretty clear idea of what it is we want to do. The planet of communication and the ruler of our hearts and relationships and money are having a meeting that gives us knowledge of, yep, this is what I want, this is what I'm going for. It engenders appreciation and encourages actually using our words and communicating this to the other people in our lives, which then goes into the sun and then Venus, love goddess, having an expansive contact with Jupiter, the guy who ups the ante of any action that he gets near, and then the sun and Venus hitting Saturn, planet of adulting, the guy who rules form, structure, commitment, responsibility. So we get all grandiose and expansive, and then something says, gotta adjust, bring it into reality again and again. And the second of these happens, there is no such thing as coincidence, on the 8th, which is being honored as per usual, something called the Lion's Gate. And if you are into all kinds of mystical stuff associated with the calendar, you can take this as an invitation to let your heart catch on fire, and circumstances will then maneuver you into doing something that's going to make it lasting or real or workable. It's highly exciting, energizing, and whether you're into concepts like Lionsgate or not, this is definitely energy to ride, actively ride, set fire to your heart. In a good way. I'm not saying torch things. I'm saying let them ignite. Acknowledge what it is you want and express it. Actually ask for it. Actually envision already having it. You could be very pleasantly surprised. The role that Jupiter is playing in the early part of the month really is acting like flame accelerant, causing things to take off. So look in the right direction, send a glance in a certain direction, and bam, stuff could accelerate. The really big, memorable action of the week occurs all on the same day, on the 11th, when many things happen. There is a handoff in the retrogrades. Jupiter, which has been retrograde since April 10th, turns direct, and things that have been stalled or kind of in the background or maybe someday we'll get to it, really do start moving forward very dramatically and quickly after that. Uranus, cosmic quick change artist, stations retrograde. So we will have the same number of outer planets retrograde. The identities will be different, and Uranus will be retrograde for the rest of the year. On that day, Mercury, the planet of communication that also rules how we get around, gets out of very emotional Cancer and the territory where we've been revisiting all kinds of stuff with the structural and ancestral and actual physical foundation and just general clearing, cleaning up and purging that we've been doing all summer. Mercury leaves Cancer for Leo and increases the presence of fire in the sky and moves our thoughts, our communication, and how we're getting around into warm, high energy, dramatic, maybe melodramatic, maybe playful, maybe generous, maybe attention getting, not boring. And while that is happening, Venus, love goddess, ruler of all we value, makes an adjustment aspect with the other ruler of love, Neptune, who is all about transcending or unhooking from physical reality. So Venus has just come off this adjustment aspect with the guy who rules reality, and then she has an adjustment aspect with the escape artist, the escapism artist, to be more precise, the illusionist, the dream maker. Maybe we have to bring a little more compassion or gentleness into what we're doing. Maybe there is something here where the ideal has to be tinkered with to bring it down into what can actually exist here on the earth. And maybe there is a push to actually create something artistically that comes out of this as well. Notice your impulses. Could be more finger painting going on. And with it all, remember that there is a difference between wanting something and having something. If you're in the energy of desiring something or yearning, let's put it that way, if you're focusing on what you want to have instead of what you have, you're focusing possibly on not having the object of your desire. And there may be a separate issue of, are you able to actually have what you desire? That's your point of focus this week, which leads to the homing thought of the week. I allow myself to have what I want. Song of the week, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. And the image of the week is blowing up a balloon till it is as full as can be, and then tying the end of it and a little bit of the air coming out while you tie it to hold the balloon in place. You can find more about all of this in my forecasts for the month of August and also for last week's Leo new moon at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list, book a session with me, and get several aids for working with Uranus in the shop. You'll also find bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I am deeply grateful to the people who are supporting my work there. Talk to you next week.